Okay, our beloveds, our another has moved into a new vibration today that is becoming a bit more familiar. She would call it baseball bats and shovels because it is an outflow of anger, but from our perspective, it is an appropriate outflow of anger. Our another was having a conversation with a friend last night, and the question that came up is, when is force appropriate? Our another really is a love and light type of person and wishes to be kind and loving and compassionate at all times, but there are times when it is just not the right or correct solution. Many of you all listening do not have this conflict stored within yourselves and will say, of course, but our another was taught and inherently is a complacent type of person who wishes no harm on others. So now the question we ask you all is, if you saw a man raping a young woman, would you grab that man off of that young woman and beat the living snot out of him? Would you maybe put a bullet in his head if you had a gun available and he fought back? So the question is, where and when is strong action appropriate? Well, in our another's mind, there is no question. If that were to occur, she would act. But when is it okay to punch a person? When is it okay to say hurtful things to a person? And our another is being taught that particular lesson right now. She has been so passive in many responses and reactions to people over the years because she really does not like to express that angry side of herself because she has inherently felt, and more importantly was taught, that it is sinful behavior. You are to be like Jesus. If somebody slaps your cheek, you turn the other cheek to them, as if to say, slap me again. And while this message has been completely misunderstood by humanity, this is what she believed for many years. And now she is in a position where another human being has harmed her, and she is learning how it feels to hold this other person accountable for their behavior and to point out hypocrisies and inconsistencies and where they simply are failing to show up. Now, it is not her style to be critical like this because she really wishes to offer people love and light so they can become the best version of themselves. But when others don't and truly fail you because of the harm they have caused you, how should you respond? And we are now teaching our another to use the Margaret Thatcher approach. Be distant, be objective, be detached, and be similar to a judge, if you will. Somebody who looks at it from the outside perspective of how should this person have behaved, responded? Did this person have a responsibility to mitigate the damages that were caused? If you set somebody's house on fire and just watch it burn, versus setting it on fire and then taking the hose and attempting to put it out results in a vastly different consequence, energetically as well as legally. One, you have caused the harm and did nothing to mitigate the pain and the suffering that results from your action, right? So there is the legal world and the energetic world, which at times do overlap, because the legal world, if it were working in harmony with the energetic world, would offer a similar solution. And Our Another has continually asked for the energetic and legal outcome to support what is energetically and legally hers, if that makes sense. It is Our Another's journey today and for the coming days and weeks to find what her strength is, what her weaknesses and vulnerabilities are, and how to use this current learning opportunity within which she finds herself to teach her, as well as another human being, how karma plays out. It is not an easy lesson for her, nor is it an easy lesson for the other person, but it is their karmic dance right now to figure out how to support one another and hold one another accountable for harms caused. She is learning to find a voice and to say, you failed me, and why you failed me, and how you continue to fail me, because you are failing to take responsibility for your actions. And the other person, because some people have not learned to show up for others when they have caused harm, is learning a very, very painful lesson and is unable to walk away because of the nature of the harm caused. So it is a unique dance that neither are enjoying at all, but must work through in order to resolve this karmic lesson, this karmic contract. And it is not what either had envisioned nor desired, and both would prefer to walk away without any further discussion or thought, but it is not an option. And sometimes karma offers exactly the lesson that you need in order to grow. And to be honest, this is tongue-in-cheek. Karma always offers you the lesson that you need to grow. But many of you, instead of looking at the lesson, choose to deflect your responsibility. You choose to point the fingers at others who somehow can take blame or absolve you of your behavior, or you just simply use others to divert the attention of what it is that you have done. It is this simple. When somebody comes to you and says, you have harmed me, there is no discussion to be had on this point other than, how have I harmed you? Please tell me, and how can I help? I am so very sorry, and I will do my best to make it better. That is it. You do not point the fingers at anyone else who helped to create this mess, or why somehow you are not responsible based on your own perception. It is not your perception or reality that is being discussed here. It is the person who is telling you that you have harmed them. And it is the karmic dance, the karmic lesson for you both to harmoniously work through to the ideal solution so that the harm caused is minimized as best as possible. This is how you remove your karmic burdens, by owning up to what you have done and doing your best to cause as little harm going forward. You're learning, you're capable of learning, but only if you can take this very pointed example of not arguing with people when they disagree with you. Don't argue. Inquire why they feel that way. Be curious. Learn from a person who differs from you so that you can begin to understand their world construct. If you cannot, humanity will never transition through this eye of the needle to get to the other side, to the Aquarian age, to the place where the lion and the lamb finally lay together. Because the lion is capable of seeing the lamb, and the lamb is capable of seeing the lion, what each has to offer. It is the yin and the yang, the balance point, the scales of justice. You cannot love somebody back to health. Sometimes there are energetic spankings which occur to hold the person accountable for the harm caused. Ideally, it's done in a loving fashion, but sometimes it needs to be done with a stern voice, but always from that underlying foundation of, I love you and I'm doing this to help to make you whole. It is the way of the universe. It is not just love and light. It is also responsibility and accountability to bring you back to that point of union, that point of cohesion, that point of collective consciousness, where all is one and all is as it should be. And so it is. Namaste.